Hi, I'm JD, and what we're going to be doing today is what's called the OI method. So what you want is kind of like the product sum method, if you're familiar with that. So what you want to do is make a little x. What goes on top is the a times the c. So 2 times negative 6 is negative 12. And then you have your letter b, which goes on the bottom, which here would be 1. And then you ask yourself, okay, what times what will give me negative 12? And then when added together, it gives me a positive 1. Right, so it's 4 and negative 3. Now, in this method, what you want to do is you set up your parentheses. Now, this turns out to be the outer and the inner. So let's make the inner 4x, and it doesn't matter which, be negative 3x. Now, what you want to do with these is, this times this has to be the first, and then this times this has to be the last. So with the first, look at this. How can you make, or what would be part of that? That would be x, right? And then part of this would be negative 3. And then you look at the 4x and 2 and 2x, right? Because that would give me the 4x. And then you just put in your signs, and then that's it. Let's do another one. So you multiply a times c. It's 18. Take your b, which is 11. And then you ask yourself, ask yourself what times what will give me 18. And then when add together gives me 11. 2 and 9. Set up your parentheses. Again, this turns out to be the inner and the outer, or the outer and the inner. That's why it's called the OI method. So you have 2x, and then you have 9x. So what's going to go here? How do I make that 9x out of a 3? 3. Over here, this has to be a 1. But here, how can I make the 9x with the 6? 3x. And then over here, that would be a 2x. And then plus. Again, you're looking for factors that will make this, 2x. This is part of the last. That's part of the first. Part of FOIL. All right, so now let's look at the last one. So 4 times 12 is 48. Then you have negative 19. What times what will give you 48? And then when added together, it gives you negative 19. Maybe it's not that noticeable. I think it's negative 3 and negative 16. But, let's say if it wasn't that noticeable, you would list out factors of 48. So 1, 48, 2, and 24, 3 and 16, 4 and 12, 6 and 8. And what gives you the 19? 3 and 16. So it'd be negative 3 and negative 16. So set up your parentheses. Put your inner and your outer there. These are just the coefficients, so you have to put the x in there as well. That's what I've been doing. So negative 3x. And it doesn't really matter which is which. Alright, so if I look at this last, how can I get factors of 16x, that are also in a 4x squared? 4x And then what about this 12 over here? What factors do they have in common? 4. And what about this guy? This should be 3, because right, it's the last, so you're looking at this and that. And then over here it's just an x. Now with this, with the inner and the outer, they both have to be negative. So this would be a minus sign, and that has to be a minus sign. And that's it. So let me review what to do. So let me just take this last example. So what you have to do is first set up your x. On top is just a times c, so here would be 4 times 12. That would be b. B goes there. Product sums. What times what will give you 48. Then when added together it gives you negative 19. Those two numbers are the OI and FOIL. So you have your outer. Well, that would be your inner. And then you have your outer. Put those numbers in there. And then find common factors with this, and then the first, and then over here with the last, etc. And then you can always check by multiplying it, but they're right. So there you go. And that's it.